You're listening to the We Are Libertarians Network. Learn more at wearelibertarians.com.
Welcome to the Boss Hog of Liberty podcast. This is episode number 76 of East Central Indiana's favorite podcast. I'm Jeremiah Morrill, and I'm joined by co-host Mr. Dakota Davis.
Oh. On today's episode, we are featuring our lovely syndicator, Mr. Chris Spangle, Dear Leader. Today we're going to be bragging on ourselves because we're finally in our new studio, and
it's our annual review,
yeah.
Dakota.
It's a yearly review.
I've got a lot of grievances for you people.
And so we're gonna there's gonna be some shop talk going on here. Talking about what we do, and everything that goes into the Boss Hog Liberty podcast. So that's exciting, and it is episode 77.
77?
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah, 77.
Where did time go?
I don't know.
It's episode 77.
I was told this would be 69.
No, that's what you wanted the temperature set to.
That's part of my writer. Jeremiah had to drive out to Southport in Indianapolis and pick me up, take me back, chauffeured me out, and then I demanded the temperature be set at 69.
Thankfully, I still have the wall PayPal card, so I can pay myself back anytime I need to.
An ice-cold Nalgene bottle of water, spring.
2.
Not distilled.
2 bottles. So this show is about our lives in rural Indiana. As always, we promise our episodes are going to be
intro?
A fun and an easy listen.
Yeah, usually we don't let the guests talk during the intro, but since you're special,
I will cancel you if you don't let me talk. I made you people.
Yes. So this is the very first episode. We had a little test lighting thing last night, and Chris goes, "Well, I guess the cameras worked, but you need to change everything." So he showed up at 5:30, and we rearranged. And then about 6:45, he goes, "Yeah, we got to do something with the lights.
Demand to be lit better.
I have to be lit better.
I have a problem, okay? I trimmed my beard wrong. You know this, Dakota.
Mm-hmm.
It's the worst feeling in the world. You're using the one to trim the mustache, and then you go, oh. So I look like a baby. So I needed to be lit well.
So you looked like a baby. I will say this with the lighting. I went to the restroom right before we went live.
Yeah.
And you moved our studio lights way up.
That's right.
And they're about 2 feet away from the ceiling fan now, and the ceiling fan is rocking them. So if they fall.
No, because what I did is I changed the legs so they won't fall. But you need the lights to go. I'm here to teach, and so you want the lights up, coming down on your face, so it doesn't give you as many shadows.
Wow, look at that! I love it.
This is a great place, and I'm very proud of you guys. This is a very cool studio. If I were to have a studio, I would want it to look like this room. I think it is really neat. You've got the very cool door behind us, which looks great now that it's lit and popping some color. A lot of cool brick behind you. I think this is really neat. The sound. Hello. This is
it's cavernous in here.
Help me!
But I hope someone's walking. Remember that the plywood.
Yeah, this was an old tattoo studio, I think, at one point. So
really,
yeah, there were some people made some bad decisions and came in here.
Yeah. Continuing a long string of bad decisions.
So there's probably a group of people that are going, oh man, somebody's in there getting their tattoo and they've been strapped down and they feel bad about what they've done.
Yeah. So, but it is very nice in here. And it'll, as you guys know, it'll grow and expand and change and it'll look constantly every week. Every time I come here, it'll look different. I guarantee it. It's very cool. Very good beginning. And, thanks for rubbing it in a nice Patreon video that we did before, how I don't have my own studio. Although, if you go to our YouTube channel, and please like our YouTube as well, at We Are Libertarians, we don't have a studio. It's in my apartment, which I would like to move because have you guys ever said to a girl that you're bringing home for a date, hey, I know you don't like surprises, but I have a podcast studio in my living room.
I heard
it's more of a mood killer than you think.
When we started this show, the whole podcast was I would set it up and tear it down every time. So it just sat in a cabinet. Right. So about an hour before the show, I would grab out 4 microphones, 4 mic stands, set it on the table, had my little side recorder. There was no video. Nothing mattered.
Right.
And we were up and down, and we could set up anywhere we wanted to.
And it sounds different every time, because that's how we started too. That's how the first 100 episodes of We Are Libertarians went. It sounds different every single time because a knob gets moved or whatever. And so, yeah, it's just not tenable. So it's always good to have a nice dedicated space. You can put a cover over it so the cat doesn't walk on it and change it, or your fat fingers don't mess something up. You want to have a good dedicated space so it always sounds the same.
This is a no cat studio.
It is.
That's right.
Strictly.
There will be no kittens.
Trust me, there will be no cats in this studio. I probably
in the survey that we put out, one of the dislikes on the review tab was that the audio is constantly changing. And I thought, well, I mean, at least it's getting better.
Right.
It's not changing.
Go
for
back
the worse.
then listen to episode 2, 3, or 4, and then you can tell me how bad this is.
Even that first episode,
the first one you produced
that I engineered was still not great. No,
it wasn't.
By the way, now that you guys have moved into your studio and you've got your new board, can I have my board back now?
No, we
why not?
We pawned that.
What? So Jeremiah, I don't think I've
reinvested the assets.
Have I been on the show since you did that?
No, probably not. I'm not the only one that did that. It was a team effort.
No. Dakota's my favorite of the two of you. So Dakota, I've known you. You're literally the longest friend I have at this point, except for Brandon. So I like beating up on you because it's fun because you can take it. You know,
because who needs friends?
You're right.
I'm next in line to go.
I've seen how your parents talk to you. You like tough love, and so we're in a group chat one day, and so I basically to get all of the We Are Libertarians podcast started, I always send equipment. Like I sent for our video series, I sent Sarah Brady Wagner $250 worth of video equipment. I sent Maya a board. Didn't get that one back either. I sent I gave you guys, $150 worth of equipment, probably including the only original that we had. 2 original boards for We Are Libertarians. One got thrown off of a balcony, and then the other, he's like, well, we can buy this board as long as we sell this to James, because James has already we've already lined it up and I've got it sold. I just need to put the equipment together. I go, excuse me. You took something that I let you borrow, and you're selling it? And he's like, yeah, man, we got to grow the podcast. I figured you'd want that. I'm like, no, I want my board back. But it's fine. I'm giving, and I'm generous, and I'm thorough. So
if it makes you feel any better, the person who ended up purchasing the old board was Carly Ernst,
who is one of my favorite people on the planet, so I'm okay with it.
She gives you money every month.
That's exactly right. But this is not a consignment shop. I don't. No, I'm very happy Carly has it, and I didn't really care that much. It's just more fun to make it an issue. It was just I was like, are you kidding? I was genuinely offended for about 15 seconds, and then I thought, oh no, I get to mention this for the rest of our lives.
It's a story.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
The story is worth more than anything else.
And
exactly.
You know what makes it funnier is that because the 3 of us were in that group chat trying to figure out our new board, and whenever I brought up the idea of, hey, if we sell this, then we can buy this, I didn't even think about it being yours.
I know you guys didn't.
It had been sitting in my guest bedroom for so long. It just
it belonged to the Boss Hog Delivery podcast.
Now I know how the Native Americans feel. I was homesteaded.
Yes, you were. Yeah, that's exactly right.
Listen, all I know is that we come to your sweatshop called We Are Libertarians Enterprises.
That's right. So difficult.
And we turn in a weekly podcast no matter what. We answer the bell.
Are you still doing this weekly?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
I should subscribe.
Yeah, you really should check in. We've lost track of how many episodes we've done.
Yeah, occasionally it's more than once a week.
Now, the honest truth is, the Ghost Pepper episode from last week, we did that 2 weeks ago. We did 2 episodes back to back. We did the Ghost Pepper episode, and we did is it the Steve Horwitz episode?
No, it was not.
Anyway,
you had one in between, Steve.
Yeah. Yes, yeah. So we did episode 75 and 76 back to back.
Rob Kendall.
That's right.
Was it?
Yeah.
No, he was before Steve. Because I remember watching Rob on the live stream, because I don't get a chance to listen all that much because I'm always listening to stuff to prep for my show.
We won Thursday nights, by the way.
But I will talk about that in a little bit. But so
we won't never get back to it.
Right. And so I watch the live stream. If I'm not doing my show, I'll watch the live stream.
It was Bowers and MJ.
And,
Oh, yeah.
and Rob is sitting here where I'm sitting at the old studio, and he's having a great time, and then he gets a text message from the boss, and his face just falls. You should go watch that live stream at the end, because he's just, and then all of a sudden the first words out of his mouth is, I love my wife. And I'm like, he's in so much trouble that he's in Newcastle. Oh gosh. Yeah. But, no, there
was a comment that came across a live stream from a woman shortly after that text message that said, "Really, Rob?"
It might have been Haley, the lovely Haley Kendall. Really, Rob? But I had Rob on my show last week, and I love Rob Kendall of WIBC, but it is so hard to book him. So I've just started going directly to his agent, Haley, his wife. Much like I will start doing to Jer with Sarah soon. I'll just call Sarah.
Yes,
Sarah will have less helpful advice. Have you ever noticed when you have a problem, Jared gives you a lot of advice?
He does. Yeah.
I'm a life coach. You're welcome.
A life coach full of advice you never knew that you wanted.
I have
never asked for it.
I've had an issue with my rent.
They like you to pay it once a month.
I know. That's a real problem for me. And so I'm in the Walmart parking lot, getting ready to walk in. He's like, "What's your ETA?" It didn't, not politely. He just says, "ETA?" ? Like a boss, boss hog.
Well,
yes.
No, it's not like a boss. He just texts like a boomer.
Right. And so I'm getting ready to walk into a Walmart, and I was like, an hour. He's like, "So you're just leaving?" I was like, "No, I got to go to Walmart and pay my rent." He's like, "We have a Walmart. We have Woodland Bank." I'm like, "Woodland Bank isn't even involved in this transaction."
What is Woodland Bank?
I think it's Wood Forest. I think it's the house bank of the Walmart.
Right.
I figured you did all your checking there.
And our poor boy Stone, the official son of We're Libertarians, not S-U-N, S-O-N. He's our meme czar. Is having trouble getting up from Georgia to the party that we're having on Saturday.
For him. It's literally billed as Spangle's Birthday / Stonefest 2018.
Right, because we're very excited to meet young Stone.
And if Stone doesn't make the trip, it's going to sound like I'm having a stoner party.
Right.
And now I'm going to look bad.
We don't want that's right. What's important here.
We invited Brandy and Matt Pierce.
Yeah.
Just so that no one thinks it's a stoner fest. They're police officers.
Okay. All right. Yeah, so, never mind. I'll keep my libertarianness to myself over here on Wall.
Yes,
but so he's having all morning long. Well, let's do this. I just bought you a ticket. You're doing this. And I had to privately message Jeremiah and just go, "Can you leave the kid alone? He's already feels bad enough."
I privately messaged you and I said, "Listen, I'm simply going to teach him that all he has to do is give up his fears and get on the bus."
That's right.
I said, "Stone, can you be at the bus station at 7 a.m.? And he's like, I'm terrified of the... I don't know what Stone sounds like.
No, he said, "Do not buy me a bus ticket."
Yeah. Right. So I replied back, "Stone, I need your middle initial and your email address."
At one point, I just wrote in there, Dakota, "What do I have to do to get you into this rebar today?"
That was
you
fantastic.
see why Jer's a salesman.
I loved that. Yeah.
So let's hopefully see. This is why people love when I'm on, because I just beat up on the lovable Jeremiah.
This is how you sharpen a knife, by going up against an immovable object like Chris.
So you must be very excited not to have people traipsing in and out of your house every week.
Very excited.
The most excited person is Audrey.
It wasn't that bad.
Right.
It wasn't that bad for either one of us. Like the cleaning wasn't bad. We keep the house clean anyway. But after a while, man, it just kind of was like, okay, well, here we go. And it wasn't like it was just I was doing a show with co-hosts,
right?
People that I'm good friends with. I was having strangers in and out of my home.
Yeah,
and they would normally show up before I would.
Yeah, I've done an ensemble show for 7 years with people that are my best friends on We Are Libertarians, and so every Thursday night, people have come in. But it's like, now it's on Tuesdays. Harry comes every Tuesday. Which, by the way, where's Harry? We'll talk about that. But so
I notified his boss, and we have an empty chair.
If I didn't have the show in my house, I wouldn't clean the toilet. I don't think so. It's good for me to have people in the house, but it's like, I don't know if
I wonder who's going to clean our toilet. We haven't talked about that yet. We have a toilet. As of yesterday, this place has a toilet.
Whenever Chase Peyton moves into the apartment upstairs, he's in charge of cleaning.
Honestly, you need a chore chart. You need to treat your co-host.
Yeah.
Do what I do. Treat your co-hosts like the children they are, and you're the boss. And so, yeah.
Do you hear that, Chase, Kade, and Danny?
Right.
Yeah. Chase, you've got toilet duty next week. So,
invite Aaron out for BW3s, and then, by the way, can you clean that toilet? That's another thing, Dakota. Every time he wants to be friends, he invites.
We get Tom Saunders, like
Tom Saunders or Tom Sawyer?
Saunders, the state representative. Yeah.
So he invites our good friend Aaron out to hang out, and then all of a sudden, next thing you know, Aaron's in a crawl space because he does crawl space repair for a living. He's like, while you're here, why don't you go crawl in my crawl space?
No, it was.
I have also been invited over for beers and a nice evening by the pool, and ended up in the crawl space
doing electrical work for him.
That was my birthday present.
He invites me to come do podcasts.
Yeah. Oh, is that what he does?
I chose a much better profession than you. I'm sorry.
You did. Yeah. You were much smarter in that endeavor.
I've now.
No one loves
being my friend. You've had some pretty good access.
That's true.
We've been to the Indy 500 together.
That's right.
We've been in the Ganassi Suite together.
I've been to your home.
You've been to my home.
I've
been to your
Garth.
home.
Your dog.
You've met my dog.
No one loves harder than Jeremiah. Sarah is Sarah is a lucky woman because no one will love harder than Jer. And if there's anything wrong, he will nag her until he finds out what it is.
Mike Broyles, not Mike and Scott cleaning the toilets. They are definitely not.
No. I'm honored to have Jeremiah as a friend. He's a very nice person. He allows me to come and mock him on his show, and then he's throwing me a party this weekend. And we haven't really had a party we had 18 last summer. I mean, it was a lot.
Okay, Chris. What's the one thing that changed? He has a ring on his finger now.
I'm not going to say it.
But I'm not going to blame Sarah. If you guys need to, I will just sit over here quietly.
It just seems like the fun stopped.
That's what I thought.
There may be a fun sucker here.
A fun sucker, yeah. The mosquito of fun.
No, it is not Sarah's fault at all. It is...
Tad wants the doors opened. Open the doors! What's behind the doors?
Tad, he knows his horses are on the other side of this barn.
That's the stable for Tad Western back there.
Mm-hmm. No, between my summer and Jeremiah's summer, we were talking about this the other day, there hasn't been a single weekend that we could have even done a party had we wanted to.
Yeah.
This is it. This is the first opportunity.
This summer's been the most insane summer, and it's gone by so fast.
Too much. Yeah. Too much going on. Jer loves it. He loves people.
If Jer's not busy, he will make a crisis himself.
No, have you, Jeremiah, ever spent more than 10 minutes alone?
Yeah, I was in the car for the last 2 days alone. I drove to Akron and back yesterday.
I mean,
I had an emergency pickup lunch with Hannah, with our friend Hannah in Cuyahoga Falls.
He hadn't
been on 10 minutes notice.
He hadn't been a friend in more than 4 hours, and so he had to be. I need friendship. He's like
today. I'll tell you, literally today.
Y'all got any more than friends?
Today, Kyle Hopwood, who watches this show, and he's a vendor of mine for the day job. He texts me. He's like, "Man, the babysitter called in sick. So I need to cancel our lunch today." I'm like, why? Because you can't bring the kid? I mean, it's not like you're trying to impress somebody. It's just me, man. He's like, all right, yeah, okay. We can give it a shot. He's got an 11-month-old baby at home. So he's like, well, we can go to this one place over at, north on Dayton or whatever. All right. And he's like, there's 3 restaurants or whatever. And it's like Don Pablo's, TGI Fridays, and Hooters. I'm like, we could have 2 men and a baby at Hooters.
That's classy.
Father of the year.
I'm sure Sarah's watching this,
Did the waitress mention how nice it was for those 2 gay men to adopt a baby?
So I'm like, yeah,
she
we're
probably felt most comfortable with you 2 than she has in a very long time.
We go in, and there's like 4 kids in there. I'm like, he wasn't even sure they were gonna have a high chair, and it's like the place with the mouse.
Well, basically, from my
Chuck E. Cheese.
Based on my childhood, I know that they do have booster seats at Hooters. My dad was a frequent visitor after he and my mom had they had differences of opinion. Like, I'll live here and you won't. And so my 16th birthday party was at Hooters, and so I went all the time as a kid, but. There was a story out that Hooters, they're blaming millennials for Hooters closing down locations because
we like butts now.
And we don't like boobs. But back me up. Like, I don't think it's that. I think that guys our age are more respectful. I think things like the Me Too movement and having female friends, like I had female friends talk to me about what emotional impact there is when a guy leers at them, for instance, at work, and like how uncomfortable that makes them. And so to go to Hooters, I went for the first time in years, like about 4 or 5 months ago, and it just didn't feel right. I felt uncomfortable.
Yeah, you feel like it's like you can't even just look around the restaurant comfortably. At least I can't. I know exactly what you're talking about.
I don't want to be uncomfortable when I eat.
Yeah.
I went for chicken wings and salad, and I had a lovely time.
And then the other thing
He's like,
about
"There's
Hooters
new
is
friends."
that the food just isn't that great. I would rather go to Buffalo Wild Wings.
Now, let's not upset any potential sponsors.
I don't know, man. I think the Hooters food is really good, and that's one of the bummers for me. Is the curly fries, the cheese sauce.
Do you really?
And
You really think it's good?
It's like every chain restaurant. None of the food is as good as 20 years ago. There's something about the world's restaurants that, and maybe it's my taste buds, but it just seems like the quality at every chain restaurant that you go to is greatly diminished over the last decade. But at least since the recession. And so, yeah, it's not as good as it was, but it's still, I think, pretty good.
I've never been a huge fan. I always get the buffalo shrimp whenever I go.
I'm sorry to interrupt you, as I'm doing a lot tonight. He's inviting Chase. He's so excited to have friends.
Chase was like, I didn't think I was supposed to come to this one. I said, well, you can.
We're halfway.
Jeremiah is terrified of not having a third co-host here.
Yeah.
No.
He doesn't think. Listen, Chris. He has such little faith in your
I have
abilities.
no faith that Spangle can carry a show.
I do 10 hours a week. I work at a radio show. I do every single day the Chris Spangle Show. I do a podcast where I talk into a microphone for 20 to 45 minutes.
I've been
talk
really,
about that for a second.
I've been
I've
really
enjoyed-
enjoying.
Yeah, the last 2 weeks or so, you've had the Chris Spangle Show going every day, and Tad Talk has all of a sudden been resurrected.
Yeah, TTD.
And I listened to Tad talk about 9/11 yesterday, and he did a very good job. It was excellent.
Tad Talk is one of the undiscovered gems on the We Are Libertarians Network. Mm-hmm. And so Tad has done this show for a long time, and at one point had 1,500 downloads an episode, which is
huge.
That's crazy.
It's big. Like it is. It's a lot. Like most podcasts, the average is 200 downloads an episode.
Really?
Yeah,
That's the average for most podcasts.
That's it.
We blow that away.
Yeah, we're
No,
well
I mean,
above average.
most people make it 7 to 10 episodes, and they go, "I'm not making money, and I'm not famous yet. Why am I not famous yet? So I'm not doing this anymore." It's an expensive hobby. It is for me a side job, and so people have weird expectations when they get into this. But Tad, kind of hit a wall and kind of pod faded after about 18, which is not abnormal. He came on Weird Libertarians, and he came in, he rode his horse into the Weird Libertarian studio, and I took the whip off of his horse and I cracked it on his back, and I said, "Tad, you're a great man. You have 2 million downloads in Turkey alone. You have so much talent to give.
The turkey bots.
You have to do more. You have the audience." The audience every day begs me more Tad, and he said
his show actually is really, really good.
it is. So what Tad does is a libertarian comedians look at the daily news, and it's a fun listen because he doesn't talk. He talks about the news, but he also talks about
Tad's just reading the internet, and
yes.
it's great. And you hear Tad literally clicking through, reading the story, and going, "Oh God, these people are dumb." And he reads the story, and then you get a little quick quip, and it's just, you go story to story to story.
Yeah.
And it's normally stuff you've read, you've seen it, so you have an idea what the story is. It's a great show.
Tad is one of the Weird Libertarians is blessed with a lot of talent. James Neese, for instance, is one of the mods on 4chan. Like, he's one of the pioneers of the internet, basically, of all the horrible things you see, mainly.
James Neese is the reason why Aaron Dickin is afraid. Still just a little nervous to be my friend.
I know. With Stone was coming up, we were like, maybe we shouldn't invite James. We don't want to corrupt young Stone. But who was I talking about? Tad. Tad is one of the original.
We were talking about James Neese.
Tad is one of the original viral sensations on YouTube. He had millions of hits.
That's right. I forgot about that for a basketball video.
For basketball dunking and white rapping. And then he was
white rapping.
White rapping.
His SoundCloud is still full of hits he dropped back in 07.
And he didn't become famous. He didn't catch the break that Post Malone did.
No.
How sad. How sad is that?
He was one of the first people to get banned off of YouTube.
Was he really?
Yes.
Free Alex Jones.
He was a decade ahead of his time. So Tad just has like this very funny, he's one of the funniest people I've ever met. And he's got this character, Tad Western, and it's no holds barred. It's quite a shootout every day. So rustle you up some at wearelibertarians.com, or look for it on your podcast app. The Chris Spangle Show, the Boss Hog of Liberty, We Are Libertarians is the flagship show. The Brian Nichols Show, which is a great interview program, and Brian does a really good job of covering. He talked to a Democrat.
I listened to that episode.
What is that about?
Yeah, I don't know. I've talked to him.
Brian had on a guy from Herkimer, New York.
Right.
Northern New York. So it's actually comes within about 3 miles, the district that this guy's running for, from where I lived in New York, where I was brought up. And he's a very progressive fellow, but his entire last episode was, hey, we need to replace the people in politics because it's the old people that are in it for themselves, and we need to elect millennials and younger people, no matter what they are, because they're actually they're not gonna be motivated by getting in government and getting rich. It was a really, really interesting episode.
Yeah, so he's up to like episode 35 or 36. You guys are up to 77. Tad's up, in the 30s. He's doing a daily show. I'm doing a daily show. We're doing 2 a week for We Are Libertarians. And everybody who's on the network right now is really dedicated, really motivated to do a good job, and has an interesting point of view that is unique. And I'm a libertarian, but I'm not your average libertarian. I'm probably more moderate.
You're okay with those stop signs.
Well, I think people would look at me on like Facebook, and some people are like, you're a Trump supporter, and then other people are like, you're such a leftist, and then other people are like, you're an Alex Jones supporter, and then other people are like, you're so centrist. Why don't you write for the Weekly Standard? And like, I want it that way, and I want a network full of people who have that same point of view, who have a different way of looking at things, a different way of thinking about things, and have an irreverent presentation style. I think what you guys have done here at Boss Hog of Liberty, what I really love about what you guys have done is you had to make a choice, because I choose to be as broad as possible. I want as many people to listen. I don't do a show for libertarians. My podcasts are not for libertarians. My podcasts are for regular people who want to understand the news, and it's from a libertarian point of view. And so you're going to like it because it's different, and it's not Sean Hannity or Rachel Maddow. It's going to make you mad half the time. It's going to make you mad. You're going to love the other half, depending on where you come from. But it's not just catered towards libertarians. And so I have a different way of looking at things, and I try to be as broad as possible because I want a broad audience. And, that's paid off. But you guys, when you started this, Jared, you specifically, you weren't really, and I don't think anybody really knows when they start a podcast.
You just start talking and figure it out as you go.
It's always totally different 20 episodes in. If it's not, then you're not doing a good job. And so, we're now up to like 318 episodes on We Are Libertarians. I'm 20 into the Chris Spangle Show, and it's already kind of evolving. And you guys are 75, 77 in. And what you had to make a choice at a certain point of, do we want to do a broad show for a libertarian audience and get We Are Libertarians listeners, or do we want to do a show that's locally focused, a show that is really targeted towards the Henry County community, Newcastle?
Locality and the place that we are in, the local issues came naturally for us because that's what we pay attention to anyway.
Right.
That's what we had already been paying attention to. Both of us are really heavily involved in the local Libertarian Party, and it was so we kind of have to pay attention to those issues because of that reason.
Right.
So because of that, and
we like having guests, and it's a whole lot easier to get a local guest.
Yeah.
Totally easier.
We can get people from Indianapolis. We've had people come up all the way from damn near Louisville, but on the regular and having continuing contributors, when you deal with those types of issues, it makes it very possible.
And I'll be honest, I've never really done interviews because I hate the whole Skype setup. I hate adjusting schedules. I hate having to run home from work early or having to take a big chunk of a Saturday. Or I just God bless Brian Nichols and what he does, or our friends over at Lions of Liberty and the Johnny Rocket, or the Blast Off podcast now with Johnny Rocket. But I just don't, I've never wanted to do that kind of show because I think guests are such a hassle. And I think what you guys have done with your guests is you've taken people and
we make a ridiculous demand that they show up in person. Except for Robin Miller, pretty much every guest we've had has been an in-person guest.
Yeah, and well, here's the thing too: is that the people that we have on, there's this problem in Henry County and in other counties all around the state and around the nation.
Yeah, the turkey got killed.
Yeah, that is a big problem.
It was a crisis,
but there's this problem in all these counties where the county people don't know who their county officials are. Yeah. They don't know who is running the boards. They don't know who is on their different councils. They don't know who their state representative is. They just know their names if they even voted.
Yeah.
Right.
And you know somebody's in government, but you don't know. Well, okay, so you're a county councilman or you're a county commissioner. What does that do, and how is that different than the next guy?
Why hasn't our county council adapted this ordinance yet? Well, here's why. Yeah. Let the county councilor explain to you why this is going on, or why they didn't adopt this ordinance, because that's not their job.
Right.
That coming from the elected officials and providing them a platform is almost as valuable to us as anything.
It's huge, because what's great about new media is that working with old media over the last 15 years, you watch national and like Jonathan Martin, who works for the New York Times. I met him when he worked for Politico. I've worked with people like I don't want to name any local names, but I've worked with a lot of people. There's some really good journalists who are trying to do what a good journalist should do, which is show up and notice things and then report on what exactly happened at that event. And there's not a lot of that. And so what I try to do is I don't try to have a point of view. I try to just watch what's going on, or notice things in my own life, or notice patterns and trends around me or in the news, and then talk about that stuff. Because I think there's so much media out there that has an agenda already set, and they're just showing up to fill out the quotes. And so what like a Joe Rogan does, for instance, is he sits down with somebody like Elon Musk and just lets him talk for an hour and a half. And yeah, he may not press him on some of the bigger issues involving his companies, but you get a sense of who the guy is. You actually see who the human being is. And that's the great thing about podcasting and, the new media platform that you guys have set up, is that you're allowing those people to become human to your local community.
You can get a guest to come on your show because they know you're not going to come on for 4 minutes, get to barely make a point. The guest interrupts you and you move on.
Right.
Joe Rogan or our show or We're Libertarians, you actually get the opportunity to sit there and explain yourself. And we're not going to rush off to break. We're not going to disappear. You're not going to lose your opportunity.
And God bless your local newspaper. They do what they can and with the limited resources they have, but they're still stuck in that old mindset of show up, get a quote, plug it into the story. Here's what has always been important to the newspaper. Well, what you guys are doing is you're saying, okay, let's have this guy on and find out what's important to that person, and ask questions. And what's important to us, things like the Doughboy, like what's going on with this? What's going on with when? Let's take a camera and show it up. And this is something that I saw, your buddies here.
Our buddy.
When I worked for the Libertarian Party of Indiana, I traveled around the state to probably 75% of the counties. There's 92. So I went to a lot of counties. And what I found is that every single county in this state, and I have now since learned pretty much every single county in this country, has a big project that some local politician wants to put their name on. It's going to cost the county $100 million, and it probably could cost $50.
And 15% of the residents hate it.
Right.
65% don't know that it's there.
Exactly.
And then the other 20% are okay with it.
Yeah.
But that 15% is always the most incredibly loud group of people that you've ever seen in your life. And those 20% that are in favor of it, they don't care.
Yeah.
Right? So they just think, oh, okay, our government has its hands in this and it's going to happen. Like, whether I'm not thinking of anything specific, but that just seems how every single project that passes through the hands of local government, that's the way that it works.
I met Jared through his parents because I knew his parents a year or two before I knew him. And so it's 2009, I think, 2010.
Normally my mom and dad pick my friends for me.
Yeah, exactly.
I heard he was close to your mom.
Hey guys,
very
hey,
close.
welcome Chase Peyton to the studio.
Hey guys, watch this.
Dakota's going to get up and leave.
So what I saw with Jeremiah's parents, they joined the Libertarian Party. They formed a county party, and their first order of business was to take a camera out to the local county commissioners' meetings and ask questions. And you would have thought that they were terrorists, because all of a sudden these people who've been there for 25 years, who have never seen a person who they represent, because nobody goes to the county commissioner or county council meetings, they're panicking.
Oh, it creates a lot of discomfort the first time a camera shows up at a meeting.
And you would not believe how many of those, like, the impulse is to immediately shut that down. No, don't put this on YouTube. What are you doing that for? And so what your parents were able to do is save the taxpayers a lot of money, because these people were getting away with BS in secret. They're not bad people. It's just they have a certain way of thinking, and somebody new showed up, and they think, well, nobody's really paying attention, so we don't have to be that tough on this. And what I saw your parents do with a video camera was change the way that local government worked. And so what you guys have done at Boss Hog of Liberty is put a shell around that's fun. So do some of that stuff. Go keep local government accountable, but then at the same time have a fun interaction with people, talk with local officials, find people like Chase who are funny and
I'm not that funny.
That people want to listen to, and then find people like Kade. And so then you have so you end up having like a really interesting dynamic in the community. And I think you guys have shown that libertarians are not crazy, that they have and deserve a seat at the table, and that they can serve in their local government. And I think that every county in the United States should have a Boss Hog of Liberty. And it takes a lot of work. It takes a lot of dedication. You guys probably spend 5 to 10 hours a piece, you and Dakota, on about the Boss Hog of Liberty. It costs you money out of your pocket, but pretty much anything worth doing does. It takes effort. And so if you actually want to change the way that your government functions, you've got to put some time and effort into it.
Guys, it's kind of hot in here.
Honestly, yeah.
I'm going to take this off.
Yeah.
We don't need any strippers on here, Chase.
Wind farms are cool. Wow, boomers suck. Oh, I like this shirt. Did you get me one?
Is this custom? What did you do?
Oh, no.
If you don't get me, my birthday is Saturday. I want a 3X of that. But flip it around. Put the wind farms on the back and boomers suck on the front.
I don't know. I didn't know you had to get t-shirts
custom.
made. Is this an iron-on? Did you print this yourself?
I sent the picture online, and they built it for me. Wind farms are cool, people.
What a troll job, Chase.
That's very funny.
Unreal.
It was someone like Harry Price that ended up printing that.
Yes. I kept it local.
Harry. Yes. You.
So, I don't know where we're at in the show, but
we're doing fine.
I want to, so any response to that? I mean, you guys have seen a lot of changes here. Speak of the devil, there's Kade himself.
You spoke him into existence.
I did. I know. You make one joke and he came here to kick my ass.
The crowd is showing
That's what I've been doing. I've been trying to look for the mic cord and a mic so that Kade can talk to.
You want to share a seat with me?
Hey,
we'll sit on
Dakota, I got a cord. I got a mic in my bag and that camera bag over there.
I have another microphone.
All right, cool.
Yeah. So the nice thing that's happened here, and the response to the Boss Hog Liberty podcast, since we started showing up with our camera at meetings, one, people want to see the video. They're very excited that we're there. The elected officials have actually begun to embrace it.
Right.
To the point where they're saying, hey, are you going to come cover this meeting? Because they want to make sure that the things that get said, people end up playing the game of telephone. Hey, this kind of happened at a meeting, and we didn't, well, that's not actually what happened. Now people actually understand what's going on. So the city of Newcastle has gone out, and they are putting in high-definition video cameras in their city council chambers, like Rushville has done, following us, basically.
Yeah.
They took our lead, and they've talked to us and looked at the equipment we've used, and they're developing that for themselves.
Here's the problem with that, though, is that you end up with grandstanding, and that can be one risk of this. It is important because people don't have time to go out and just hang out. They don't have time to, they've got kids, the kids have soccer and homework, and there's so many demands. Kade's a dad, he can speak to that. It's hard to carve out time to go and do things, and if it is available online for people to kind of watch if they're interested. Secondly, if you're a candidate and you're running for office and you aren't attending these meetings, like even if you're running for a congressional race, if you're not attending your hometown meetings and county council meetings, you're not doing your job as a candidate because you really need to understand the local issues.
Is this weird for you?
No, I was still laughing at the shirt. You need to show Kade.
If you're listening, and you don't have video,
Look at the back.
Dakota got up to try to make accommodations for Kade. Chase stole his spots front and center.
This is my new podcast shirt. You want your spot back because this is kind of weird.
That's all right. I'm okay.
Okay.
It's a little bit cooler over here. I
Yeah.
was trying to see what was going on with the
So
air
this place
conditioning.
is really cool.
Yeah, this is the first time you've been in here. Dakota and I have been coming over on the regular trying to get this set up, and I think this is first time for Kade.
I think that Jeremiah was just trying
Kade
to
Chase.
low-key shame Chase for not helping.
Listen, I almost offered my services.
So
And then I was like, nah.
He was too busy making a shirt.
you were elected head toilet cleaner, though.
I heard that part. That's fine. I'll do next week.
No, don't you let him boss you around.
Hold on.
No, let me talk to. I'm talking to Kade and yourself.
Okay.
Danny already knows this because Danny's had to put up with this forever.
Danny's not new to the family.
When Jeremiah fancies himself a life coach,
Yeah.
okay,
You're welcome.
he likes to help,
Chase knows.
and sometimes you just have to say, you know what? I appreciate how much you love friendship and how much you want to be my friend, but leave me alone.
I'm starting to learn that because he's forced me into a lot of stuff I just don't want to do.
Yeah, it took a while for me to Chase, but then I learned that if you say no, you don't hurt his feelings.
Right? He's a salesman.
So I will volunteer, though, first week at the toilet cleaning because I want to get it out of the way. We probably won't mess it up too much. But when it's your turn, Jer, I am just going to blast it.
I can't hear him.
Yes.
You're-
I will
let's turn-
definitely eat the ghost peppers again just for Jeremiah's cleaning day.
Try that, Kade.
Working now?
Yeah, there you go.
All right, there you go.
I'm going to personally demolish that toilet because I've had to put up with this for 9 years.
9 years. We just had our 9-year Facebook anniversary.
I know.
You got me nothing.
Yeah,
You got me nothing.
other than this podcast.
He was
And,
going to buy you something at the Dollar General, which that was where we were before we started the show, and we ended up making him put it away like he was a kid in Walmart.
do you know how much I do for this show? Do you know how
please.
much this show costs me?
Please tell me. $7?
No, much more than that. Many services. You're on iHeartRadio now.
We are.
Not only do you get services that I pay for, you get my knowledge, which is $150 an hour value.
Really?
By the way, yeah.
Those are lawyer rates, man.
Yeah, well, I'm a 15-year veteran. I know what I'm doing. Look, if I can make you guys into local celebrities, then I'm really good.
That's true.
But, Jer,
Yes.
sometimes I feel appreciated too much in certain areas and not enough in others.
What areas do you feel
I
you
don't
are
know.
too much?
Do you feel like we should have two birthday parties a year for you? Is that
I'm
what
going to
you're
need
saying?
25% of your Patreon.
Oh, here come the taxes.
Well, okay,
I feel it's only right that you start tithing.
Chris, that would have been okay before he made his wife drop her Patreon donation.
I wasn't going to bring this up because, as you know, I'm a classy man with manners. And one day I log into my Patreon. We're growing. It's fantastic.
Everything's moving forward. Looking
Big,
good.
like hundreds of dollars a month because people love what people all the time are telling me. We love what you're libertarians and what you're doing. Then I had one drop, and it was Sarah Morrill. And I thought, I'm hurt.
You
but
think-
I
you
understand.
think maybe it's an accident. Maybe her card went bad, so you go and you check the comments.
yeah.
Jer made me do it. And you
I
know
got
what?
thrown under the bus so hard.
I don't blame Sarah. I blame you.
She knows that I'm the one that does all the Patreon stuff,
Right.
so she put the exact same comment on ours. Sorry, Jer made me do it.
Now, is this a consolidation of household finances?
Well, it seems silly to take money out of the left pocket and then give it back to the right pocket.
They have to start
And-
saving money up for the new baby.
We can't make that announcement yet, Chase.
Oh, sorry.
I can't wait to
It's
meet
a
little
boy.
Chris.
No, but my wife and Jeremiah's wife were drinking at Buffalo Wild Wings yesterday and had a long conversation about when they are going to have children.
Were you a little uncomfortable?
No, I was just sitting there listening. Like, why are we having? Like, why is this conversation going on?
How long are you giving them?
Them?
Yeah.
Sarah last night said 14 months.
14 months.
I'm
saying 5.
Word on the street is he's trying faster than that.
All I know is that there's about 7 years left, and I'm up $50 on Dakota.
Yep.
Is there a bet?
Yeah,
there was a bet. Yeah,
there was a bet made poolside on probably episode 6.
It was a while ago.
It
was pre-married me.
Oh yeah. Idealistic,
Dakota,
non-beaten down Dakota.
We'll
Back when you were a virgin.
And at
years.
that time, Audrey was going to. She was trying to be a doctor, so she was going to be going to medical school. And it was like
now she's just trying not to be depressed.
Now she's like, you know what? Let's just get a job. I'm over college, so I don't want to do 8 more years of this.
Yeah, probably not a bad idea. That's what I did. I was like, what do I need to finish my degrry for?
Yeah, I did that after 2 years.
So yeah, look at you now. You make 8 times
I have a
what?
studio.
Yeah,
Before
yeah, that podcast money.
Before everybody started rolling in here, you were talking about your shows.
Right.
And one of the shows is the Chris Spangle Show.
That's right.
The latest episode 19, is basically, best I can describe it as you confessing because you were afraid there might be charges at some point.
Yeah,
for
I wanted
treason.
Dakota to finish praising the shows and how great they are, but he just walked away. So I'll let him get back to that afterwards. But so the Chris Spangle Show is basically a 20-minute conversation between me and the audience. So We Are Libertarians is very produced.
Do you
and
take
very,
phone calls so that they can get back to you?
No. I don't want to hear from the audience. I want to talk to them.
It's a one-way.
And so, it's a commitment because you've got to. It's a different muscle than doing a 1 show or 2 show a week thing because doing a daily show is. Tad and I have talked about this. It's a lot different. And it's different in a fun way, but it's also different in a hard way because you have to it's more of a constant churn than just like a, save your best stuff for this 2 hours, because you're putting out so much more. So, you have to, anytime you get some spare time, you've got to take the time to record and sit down. And so I was going to do kind of some reflection on 9/11. And I was going to go to a park because I was doing an interview with our friend Abdul at WIBC at 4 o'clock yesterday afternoon. And I had finished up at the BMV. I had scheduled 3 hours for the BMV, and I was like, okay. But it took an hour and a half, and so I had some time to kill. So I went to the Kennedy King Park in Indianapolis where Robert Kennedy gave this amazing speech the night that Martin Luther King was killed. It's this 5-minute speech, but it's so moving. If you've never heard it, go look it up on YouTube. And so there's a monument there of Kennedy and King, and it's just kind of a cool place. And I thought, it's the only park between me and where I'm going, and that'd be a great place to record a podcast. So I get there, and I walk out, and they had added some new monuments. They had added this headstone with a bunch of the speech written on it. So I went and got a photo of that, and then to my right was 3 Asians. And 2 girls and a guy. They were all about 20, 25. And they were standing in front of this mural on this wall that's 20 feet high of King and Kennedy and taking photos with signs. And it had something about Korea and peace. And so I was like, okay, they must be South Korean, and there must be students. So I'll go over and see what they're doing. So I go over and I engage them because I'm curious, and maybe there's content here. It's a perspective that I've not heard before.
And boy, was there content.
There was content. And so, they didn't really speak great English. I don't think the two of them didn't speak English. Judy didn't speak English. Cy, he didn't speak English. This was their names.
Was there.
And then
they just opened up the American book and said, that's the name.
Yes, and then I think her name was Selena or Cecilia or something. And she spoke some English. And so I said, "So what are you guys here for?" And they said, "We want the peace with the United States, and we don't want the war anymore, and we want there to be one unified Korea." I said, "Great. I agree with you." So I started asking them more questions, just because I wanted to all right, maybe there's some point of view here, because it's not, you don't run into people from South Korea that are politically motivated every day in Indianapolis.
Yeah.
And so, but none of their answers really added up. Like, they all kind of like made sense, but not from a point of view that I've ever really heard, except for when I watched Netflix movies about North Korea. And they were very interested in one Korea, but they didn't want two states, which is not normal. They had just like...
That's kind of something we've heard the last little while, though. The last 6 months or so since Trump solved our North Korean problem.
Yes.
That they're going to reunify.
They did.
But previously to that, it's always been we want one united Korean peninsula,
right?
But we want two separate
states, right?
And because that's still the mainstream opinion over there. But you're starting to hear that little cricket chirp.
So a lot of stuff just didn't really add up in their story, but it was fine because maybe there's a language barrier there, and it's probably nothing. So, I said, hey, I do a podcast. I've got thousands of people listening across the country that are really sympathetic to your point of view. So I want to get your information because I'd love to do a podcast with you maybe, or like have more information on your group. So let me give you my contact info. And their eyes lit up. And so...
Oh, he's a celebrity.
Well, and I always drop that card because if I want to interview somebody, I want it to be worth their time. Like, I use audience size to make sure that they understand that they're not like just talking to me and 100 other libertarians. Like, cause that's another reason that I never did interviews is because to me it never made sense for them to talk to like such a minuscule amount of the population. But so now that it is kind of worth somebody's while, I will say that. And so they go, oh, before you go, can we get a photo? I said, absolutely. I'd love to get a photo. Now, I'm thinking we're going to take a selfie.
Of course.
Right. Because these are, basically teenagers. These are millennials, these little 20-year-olds.
You think you're going to take a puppy face picture.
Right. We're going to get out the Snapchat. I'm going to have the dog ears, all that stuff. And
you're going to be Larry, your famous character Larry that they took away from him.
I'll take a selfie with you.
Right. And so they go, okay, you stand here. And then all of a sudden, they unfurl the banner. They stand on one side of me. The kid gets down to get the whole mural. I look over, and the girl has the black power fist like this. And I went, no. Because in my mind, I've just turned into John Kerry, and this is my Swift boat moment. And
career is over.
I will never be able to run for office because it was clearly a propaganda photo. And having
the guy that doesn't speak English said, "Got him." You heard that one clearly.
No, they literally before we took the photo, I was talking. And he's like, "Yeah, sure, I'd love to." And then he says something, and they go, "Oh yeah." I was like, "Oh, what does oh yeah mean?" Well, it means propaganda photo. And so they unfurl, and I'm standing there, and I smile real big for the camera, and then I realize what's happening. Because they managed to meet the one person in Indiana that has spent hours studying North Korean propaganda.
Because you have a bit of a reputation, dear leader.
That's part of the problem, is that I have photoshops of my face on Kim Jong-un all over the place. I talk about North Korean peace. People jokingly call me dear leader. Like, the Ministry of Friendship and Propaganda is our Facebook group at We're Libertarians. And so I'm thinking, okay, because that was part of it. I also wanted to understand like their culture and how like they structure the North Korean society. But I also thought it'd be funny to like find out like the propaganda phrases and then turn that into like libertarian phrases because it's the juxtaposition that's funny. And so I know a lot about North Korean propaganda. And so I am now in my mind sitting there thinking they think they've got the Rush Limbaugh of America and they're going to use this photo for propaganda because what they do, somebody asked how would they use this photo? Well, so they push a few narratives that the American government is bloodthirsty and they want to start a war at all times. They'll come and rape our country and our people. And but at the same time, even their own people don't agree with them. Look, even their people think that the American government is wrong. And so this photo, in their mind, they're talking to somebody who has like any kind of political influence, which I don't. Yeah. And they're gonna...
Oh, don't be shy.
This is gonna be used. This is gonna pop up. I'm gonna end up on a no-fly list. Anything.
Your face is on a missile somewhere right now.
I'm just being painted.
I was
as
just
we speak.
being friendly.
Are you friends with Rocket Man on Facebook?
Yeah. No, I thought I was just being.
He's
I was
blocked
like
on Twitter.
like they weren't very clear where they were from. They were here on a visiting visa. It was all very sketchy,
So,
and they gave no details.
I want to point out, we were talking about all the podcasts earlier, and I was bragging on them. But I do try to listen to the Chris Spangle Show daily, because you are pushing out really quality content. You're the Ben Shapiro of centrism. And so I opened up the feed
of the
today.
middle of the road.
I opened up the feed today, and it says...
He's complimenting me. Shut up.
It says, how I ended up in North Korea propaganda. And I thought... What is this? So I listened through it. It's only a 15-minute episode, right. And I listened to it. I was laughing the whole time, and then because you recorded like 5 minutes after it happened.
Yeah, the second, and I'll explain why in a moment.
I got to the destination that I was going to as I was listening to the podcast, and I opened up my Facebook feed, and the first picture that pops up is the picture of you with the banner.
So I immediately I'm like. Uh-oh. Because if I'm right, and this is North Korean propaganda, this could be very problematic for me, right? So you never know what the Homeland Security folks or the NSA will find. Right. It could be a problem in America or in North Korea. So I immediately walk away a little bit and take a photo of them. And then I'm like, hey, could you text me that photo? So I have their phone number. They texted me the photo, I got the license plate number. I did certain things to make sure that if I were in a jam, I had all these
I've
pieces
seen this
of
movie
information.
before. All of that would just disappear.
Right.
Yeah.
And so
you were still in trouble.
They texted me the photo, which I'm so happy they did because it's hilarious. Because they are very menacing and all in black, and then I look like I am crapping my pants.
You do. The look on your face is like if you've ever gone through a haunted house and the guy jumps out at you, but they flash the camera at the same time to try to get you to buy a picture at the end. That is Chris's face. The guy jumping out at him, he just is pure and sheer terror.
It's episode 19 of the Chris Spangle Show. I've got the photo in the post on wearelibertarians.com, so just go look for that, or you can go look through my cover photos on Facebook. And so I immediately walk away. I'm like, what am I going to do? Because I can't just not say anything to anybody. So I immediately I pull out my Twitter and Facebook. I'm like, if this were ever to come back on me, then I should make this as public as humanly possible right now for two reasons. First, if this comes up again and this is what I think it is, I have been very transparent about it. And two, it's hilarious.
And also, if you get suicided, we all know why.
Right. And so I immediately tweet out 100% chance that I was just photographed for North Korean propaganda. Immediately started getting likes. I post the photos of them so people can see that I'm, what's going on. And I had my field recorder with me because I was going to do a podcast. So I walk away from them and I immediately start recording this episode because I want an accurate record. Because if I'm ever asked about this, my memory is not great. And so I want it on tape exactly everything that I remember along with the photos. And it's also very funny. And then I met our friend Abdul, and I immediately, I haven't texted or emailed the person, from the See Something, Say Something people, but I do have contacts at the local, FBI office if I need to. But someone on, so here's something that wasn't in the episode that you may not even know, Dakota. So I go to the Circle because that's where Abdul's at. So I'm standing on the monument.
Circle in downtown Indianapolis.
Right. And so it's a very public open space, and I'm standing outside on the monument. I pull out my laptop, I pull out my recorder, and I'm going to edit this and upload it immediately because it's very funny. It won't take that long. And so I'm standing there editing with my computer. This homeless guy sees that I have a computer, so he thinks I have money. And so, so he walks up to me. He's like, hey, how are you doing? I'm like, I'm not so well. Because I've already got this planned out, how this is going to go. I'm not so well. Oh, that's too bad. What's wrong? I just got photographed for North Korean propaganda. And he immediately goes, what? I go, yeah, it was just not, things are not good right now. I sound and I'm like sounding as
You're
panicked as possible.
exasperated and freaking-
Right.
yeah.
Yeah. And he goes, do you think they're after you? I go, 100%. I'm going to call the FBI immediately. And I can see in this guy's eyes, he's not mentally ill. He's just down on his luck.
Yeah.
He thinks I'm insane.
Yeah.
He thinks I'm
you just
nuts.
arrived today and he's in danger.
He goes, can I pray for you? I was like, please, I need it. So we pray. He hits me up for money. I give him $10 and he skedaddles because he doesn't want to be part of the FBI. But
Can I pray for you? Usually it's the other way around. Usually
Right.
it's the person they ask for money that says, no, but I'll pray for you.
No, but he still got $10 out of you.
What sane person says I just got photographed for North Korean propaganda? Nobody should believe this story. If I didn't have photographic evidence, you'd all lock me up.
The picture is still my favorite thing. And they took the banner. You need to go look at it.
It's so
because
big.
It's such a huge banner. And there's like 10 feet between Chris and the people on either side.
Because they apparently spell Korea with a C because the Japanese, when they invaded and occupied Korea, which was what led to the rise of Kim Il-sung, the Japanese refused to have any country that started higher in the alphabet than J. So they changed it to Korea with a K to basically keep them, to make sure they knew their place, but also for that reason. So that's why there's a C in it. And so somebody in the Wall audience took it and put it on Reddit. And so apparently...
And Reddit is full of people that just like to investigate.
Yes, exactly right. And so I don't have it in front of me, but essentially this is South Korean propaganda. I've been used for South Korean propaganda. What the Reddit poster surmised...
It was a bilingual banner, right? So it had the English version and then it had the
Korean letters.
The Korean language letters beneath it.
Yeah, so this is apparently a new communist leftist group in South Korea that is sympathetic to North Korea. Oh, no. But when I talked to them about how they felt about the current prime minister is very leftist. Like he's a very far left person. They didn't like him. That's how far left these guys are. And so apparently I've been used for their propaganda. I'm sure I'm on their Facebook page. I need more Wall audience people to investigate this, but
It's a call to arms.
Yeah, these are probably North Korean sympathizers who live in the South.
Guys, I don't know if it's safe to be in the same room with them.
So get this.
They're after him 100%.
We should have had him call in.
So
yeah.
When I worked for the Libertarian Party of Indiana, my mom's next door neighbor, Fred, sent a forward to his sister who hates him in Virginia and said, somebody really should do something about that Obama guy, but was much more violent about it. She forwarded it to the FBI. So they roll up to the house next door to the one that I'm living in, and they confiscate his guns and his computers and spend a week interrogating him. When it comes time to answer the question, do you know anybody who wants to overthrow the government? He goes, the neighbor kid next door does something along those lines. So that combined with being in North Korean, South Korean propaganda, I hope that I can fly to Florida in a few weeks. So we'll see. But it was. I walked away and I was like, "This is a great story, but this could only happen to me." This is
I was like starting to listen to that episode, and I was on the verge of like. He's exaggerating.
Right.
Like this.
I never exaggerate.
I was like, this is just like.
Told you a million times.
He
not to
needed
exaggerate.
content, and he's just exaggerating. But then I listened, just kept listening, and I was like, I'm not sure that you can just like make this up off the top of your head. And then I opened Facebook and saw the picture, and I just busted out. It was hilarious.
It is 100%. Every single word that I said in that podcast is totally true. There is nothing about it that is exaggerated one bit. It completely happened to me, and I'm very excited about it because if this just happened to a regular person, think of the gift that would have been lost to humanity. The story deserved to be told. This deserved to happen to someone.
Well, you're right. They legitimately thought that they had someone with influence that they were going to get a picture with, and they were going to be able to say, look, Chris Spangle of We Are Libertarians is sympathetic to our cause.
Okay, because I am sympathetic to their cause. I do think we should have a peace treaty. And like I put in because he added my contact. Instead of just texting me the photo, he created a new contact. And so because I look
forward to you being featured as a talk radio host in South Korea.
I love kimchi. So I do love the Korean people, and I do think that it is sad what has happened to North Korea and the hell that they have to live under, like Kim Jong-un. And I want to make it clear that I do not sympathize with Kim Jong-un one little bit. I don't think that
not
he's
what
a nice
I heard.
person. Yeah. But, South Korean, like the people in South Korea are like 6 inches taller than the people in North Korea because of malnutrition. Like you see the effects of communism and socialism versus capitalism in the two countries. And it's such a striking like comparison between the two. It's really like, I don't know how you can say capitalism doesn't work when you look at the two examples.
It's an excellent A and B.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, it's an unfortunate 60-year test. Where
The pictures from space at nighttime are just will take your breath away.
The Korean people are fundamentally great people, even the North Koreans. Like, if you really read into the Koreans, they seem like amazing people. Even if you watch the propaganda movies, and like there was a movie about North Korean propaganda where this super communist American goes and like learns how to make communist movies from their people, and like everybody just seems like super nice. I don't know. It's.
Have you guys ever seen The Interview?
Yes.
Yeah.
I bet you hate that movie.
When Spangle said he watches YouTube, Netflix videos of North Korea, I figured that's all what he meant. It was just watch The Interview.
Yeah, no, there's some like the propaganda game. It's really good. No, see, Jared lectures me at least once a month about isolating myself. ? So, Jared, we were talking before you got here, Kade, and maybe you as well. That
you use his name. His name is Chase.
Chase, I forgot.
You can call me whatever you want.
So, I get these two confused. The one that beats people up, and then the one that
I'm just the one that's here.
wants to, and the one that everyone wants to beat up.
It's true.
So
It's because he wears shirts like that.
Old people hate me, but it's a good thing they're about to die.
You called their protest a walking graveyard.
That's what it looked like, Dakota.
the number one,
Half of them are probably already dead.
the number one most important thing in broadcasting is you must have an emotion. People have to feel something, even if it's hate, if it's fear, if it's love. And so I support you making fun of boomers. I do it too. I mean, I'm paid by boomers, so I can't hate them too much.
Have you printed a T-shirt?
I have not yet. But it's very funny. But yeah, no, I was saying that, I deal with people all day long. My job's very mental. I'm interacting with my coworkers all day. We're writing comedy bits. I work for the Bob and Tom show during the day. And so it's a lot. And then I come home, and so, my days go from 6 a.m. to 9 p.m. pretty much every day. And so I'm mentally exhausted by the time the weekend.
Have a violin? Or
so
anything?
by the time the weekend comes around, so
6 to 9, Kade. Can you imagine?
Friday.
It's the world's smallest violin playing for you.
Try thinking sometimes, Jeremiah. It's very difficult. And so by the time the weekend comes, I like to just do nothing. This is the most sinful thing a person can do in Jeremiah's world. He is like, you just got to stop isolating yourself. It's like, no, I'm trying to recoup and just relax.
Yeah,
and
go to the
this
pool. Is my fun.
This is normal. Yeah. If I don't read on the weekends, I can't talk through the week. But he's like, no, you have an extra 5 minutes. You need to be around friends.
I'll be over in 10 minutes.
Yeah. God love him. He knows I'm more biased towards depression, so he always likes to make sure that I'm not trying to kill myself, which I do appreciate, and I love that. I need someone like Jared in my life to make sure I'm not isolating myself. But wow.
Thank God there's only one.
Right.
All right. Well, I guess we're at the point in the show where we should probably. We don't have as much time for each of your final thoughts because we wound up with so damn many ghost hosts tonight.
How'd that happen?
Well,
Jeremiah kept texting people because he was terrified Harry was not here.
He was lonely. Right. Yeah. Meanwhile, I've talked to the
There's
entire...
a chair that's empty. We need someone here now.
Right. I've talked the entire time. The two of you didn't even get a chance. Kade said hi. That's all he's been able to say.
Kade, it's harvest time. I suppose this is your last chance. You get to go out and leave the house before all the corn and the beans are in.
How's your beans?
Yeah, everything looks good. We've been getting the combines and heads and everything ready to go, so hopefully here in the next week or two we'll be able to start harvest.
I looked in
Your
the southern
fake
part.
combines.
Some of the beans in the southern part of the county the leaves are gone, man.
Yeah, we've got
it's
some that
time.
are pretty far along. Just waiting on them to finish drying up. I know southern part of the state, a lot of guys are started harvest.
Already
So
starting, yeah.
And when you come up on combine, you should definitely honk and pass it as quickly as possible. That's what we're supposed to do.
yeah, let's not do that.
So
If you're in a motorcycle and you see a sprayer, try driving underneath.
I have a couple questions
That'd be
for
expensive.
you, Kade.
Shoot.
What's the most likely time you guys will be on the road? Because this affects me in the morning.
all hours of the day.
Okay.
There's
Because
no
I'm not only
prediction.
anti-boomer, I'm also anti-farmers driving on the road at 8 in the morning when everyone's trying to get to work.
Yeah.
Now,
leave for work earlier.
Have the tariffs affected you at all?
We had a lot of our stuff sold prior to that.
Okay.
So it depends on how you manage your farm. A lot of guys out there don't have their own storage, so it's hard for them to be able to hedge things ahead of time. It's really just going to depend on the farm individually. So.
Yeah, the Chinese were, and this is in the Woodward book, this new Bob Woodward book, where basically
Episode 17 or 18 of
the
Chris Spangle Show?
18. I review the book for you. I've read about three quarters of it at this point on audiobook. But so this was actually as I was driving out here. They talk about how the Chinese targeted specific products for specific districts. So they targeted soybeans because there are more vulnerable Republicans in districts with soybeans. They targeted bourbon because of Mitch McConnell. They targeted dairy because of Paul Ryan. So they were really smart about what they actually targeted so they could actually overthrow the Republicans in the House and the Senate. So they're actively, because of the tariffs, they're engaging in political warfare in a very smart way, while we're just like, I like steel. Let's tax steel. Like, we're just throwing garbage at the wall. Like, and it's all totally unnecessary. But I thought that was really interesting that the Chinese are like,
They're that sophisticated
they're trying
in their replies.
Exactly. That they're specifically trying to make sure the Democrats win. But it's the Russians.
Yes,
That's all the
we
Russians'
need to be
fault.
worried about the Russians.
Right, those 60, not the tariffs that we started.
Because memes make big differences.
Hate it.
I'm pretty sure that the We Are Libertarians Facebook page posted more memes about Hillary Clinton than what all of the Russian bots combined did.
Easily. So if you look at, I've been part of Facebook buys.
You guys had a meme go, God retweeted you this week.
Dude.
Oh, snap.
Yeah, my Elon Musk meme. So there was a wall listener who said something, and then I cleaned it up and turned it into a meme, posted it on Twitter, and it went viral that it got picked up by the IG account God.
Instagram, for the boomers.
For the boomers. And that's like 50,000 likes. I should, and somebody's like, why don't you watermark it? It's because watermarks don't work. Nobody comes back to your page.
I was the
and
one
likes
that
it.
said watermark.
Yeah. They don't work. Like,
Was it the one that was like,
yeah, where he's, don't smoke pot because you might end up a billionaire that owns a car company and
That was a good one.
rocket
scientist, yeah.
Yeah. So that was me and Daniel Plunkett, I think. So
I saw that it got stolen by the Being Libertarian Facebook page because Kade shared it from their page.
How dare you? Yeah, that's the funny thing. There's like 4 major libertarian meme pages, of which I would say we are one: Liberty Memes, Being Libertarian, and Think Liberty. And we just steal each other's memes.
You just reappropriate.
And so it's funny because there are Being Libertarian guys in the wall group, and I know they can see it, so I purposely, like, whenever they steal our memes, I put it in there. And I should tag Vinny, but yeah, I mean, it's memes are meant to be stolen. Like,
I think that we have the most amount of leftists on the We Are Libertarians Facebook page.
So the big page, the main groups that like the page are first veterans, and then second police officers, then teachers, and then lawyers.
A lot of people who get their paychecks from the state.
But that's why they like a libertarian page, is because they know what it's like to work with. Like, you talk about Hurricane Maria in Puerto Rico, right? If your personal safety plan begins and ends with the government's going to save me, you are going to die, because government is inherently unable to be competent. Like, they're just completely incompetent. And so it doesn't matter if you had the best run FEMA agency in the world, you still probably have a very high risk of dying, because bureaucracy just can't function in the way that a private company can. Or the best solution, you taking your personal responsibility for your safety into your own hands. Like, there shouldn't be 3,000 people. Yeah. Like, Donald Trump did not murder 3,000 people in Puerto Rico. The government didn't.
Well, and that's the big fear coming up with the Hurricane Florence that's about to hit the Carolinas, is that FEMA just doesn't have any money
Yeah.
right now because of Puerto Rico. It's just non-existent.
Make no mistake, like the response from the American government and the Trump administration and all the administrations prior that have neglected Puerto Rico, they all have blood on their hands. Like, this is a national disgrace. And what Donald Trump said today about Puerto Rico and there being Democrats are making up numbers and like a dozen people died, that is, I think, the most despicable thing Donald Trump has ever said. Like, I think that is the worst thing I've ever heard him say.
Yeah,
Like,
because you're saying, no, not 3,000 people, only 1,000.
6 to 18 is what he said.
Okay, so you're like, people died, dude.
Right.
Like,
Americans.
I went through that hurricane
Did you?
From Florida.
from Florida. It was really cool.
you went through
It was super scary because at a certain point you get stuck. Like, you cannot leave. And that's when you're like, oh, I could die. It's probably the most fun I've ever had.
the most fun.
Just
Yeah,
live every
we had a
day
good
like
time.
that.
That's
Yes.
right.
Yeah.
Live every day like you might die at any moment.
Live like you die.
Me and my friends just got together and had a great time.
Singing Kenny Chesney.
I'd
All right,
I'd
we
ride
need
out
to
a
get back to
hurricane with
final
you.
thoughts here. This is going to turn into a 2-hour episode.
All right, Chase.
Good. You're welcome.
Chase.
We're skipping.
Well,
What do you have prepared?
Chris? Chris, you had enough time.
I know.
Well, Jared,
I'm
you know,
tired.
it's my first time in the new studio. It looks pretty awesome.
Literally the
We
first
got a
time you've been in the
TV.
building.
I did not expect that.
Yeah, we've got Dakota's old TV, and
Which
I
is
brought a
good
Chromecast in.
because football will be on Thursdays now.
Yeah, we need
So we won't miss anything.
we need some sort of an NFL network connection.
He had.
You know
I
what
don't
makes a
have
good...
that.
Jeremiah had ESPN 2 on there. Then it was ESPN, and now it's CNN.
We've cycled around a few.
You know
times.
what makes a good podcast?
The host watching TV.
Yeah, conversation where you're focused on what the other person is saying. Don't have the TV on while you're podcasting. What are you doing?
I would agree
Cade
with
gets
that.
it. Listen to Cade.
What happens if there's
We should have
there's
a
a
live
tornado?
feed.
Jared,
right at
if
the
we
same
start
time?
watching football
He had that on
while
there earlier.
podcasting and smoke pot at the same time, we'll be just like Barstool Sports.
Yeah, at one point Jeremiah
Foosball.
had the live stream on the computer, a live stream on his phone, and
I
then he
think
had it
other than
cast
that-
into the TV.
I can
If
put
we
the live
have
stream
like
back
a
on my
Sons of
television,
Anarchy table, that'd be great.
That would
That'd
be
be
sweet,
pretty.
right?
That'd be
A Sons
pretty
of
sick.
Anarchy table. What do you want?
Chris's face carved into the table.
Yes.
That's what we need.
Please,
Yes.
let me grow the beard out again.
I know some Amish guys. We
Yeah,
can get this made.
I'm very ugly without a beard.
What happened to the beard, buddy?
So
Can you explain this failure?
So
on
I
your
don't
part?
like when it gets too far up on my cheeks because then I start to like see the hairs, and so I was taking and I don't like when the mustache gets too long because
You don't want to see it in your field of vision.
Yeah, and so I was trimming it with the little. I didn't have a guard on, and I went. And I was like, no, because I had to trim all the
It
way
was all
down.
gone.
Yeah,
It's just like your nose. Your eyes, your brain just gets used to it. And then you
Yeah.
don't see it after
So
a while.
I have 2 quick questions for my final thoughts. What kind of toilet paper are we rocking in this place?
We brought the Charmin from my house.
Oh,
Very premium.
Ultra Soft?
Triple play. Yeah.
See, I prefer Angel Soft. I really like a nice grip.
Angel Soft is my favorite too.
Yeah, you got to have some grip.
Are the
It's whatever
pipes
I
in this
subscribe and
building up
save
to the
to.
top?
And I'm missing
we
the
haven't
party
tried
this
them yet.
weekend. I'm sorry.
Hey,
You are. I heard you're getting engaged, so we're gonna forgive you.
I'm not. Shut your mouth. You don't put that evil on me, Jeremiah.
happy baby
My
shower.
girlfriend's watching this. And
If she's watching, then the ring's really nice.
yes.
What are you saying? You don't
that-
want to marry her?
That is a big rock.
I don't listen.
Yeah,
I'll be
I picked
happy
it up.
to
It was
marry
very
her in
heavy.
like 4 or 5 years.
I like it. Honestly.
So we're going to Chicago this weekend. What should we visit?
So you
Jewelry
need to
store.
go
Get a
to
promise ring.
That'd be awesome. I wouldn't come back alive.
you need to go to Home Run Inn Pizza.
Okay.
You need to go to Gus's Fried Chicken.
Okay.
Those are my 2 biggest restaurant recommendations. The Lagunitas Brewery is up there. So is Goose Island.
You can
And
get Goose Island anywhere.
no, the Goose Island Brewery is. Up
Have
there.
you been
On
to
Goose Island.
Have you been to the Shameless House?
No.
Here
No,
it's
but it's right underneath the
kinda
L. It's kind of
scary.
in a sketchy part of town.
Mike Broyle
Yeah.
says
If
he
you-
has an apartment for Chase and his wife.
Look at him shaking his head. No. Like,
And they do have that one beer that's in Shameless, don't they? The old style.
They
Old
have
style.
old style. And
What
it's-
was
it's-
it good? Was
very-
it worth it?
So it tastes a lot like England.
Okay.
So my
Pairs pretty
recommendation
well with
for
thin
you
crust pizza.
in Chicago, take a little bit of time and go to Second City.
Okay.
It's on stage. It's a live improv. That's where Steve Carell came from.
Ask.
Is that more of a night thing to do?
Yeah.
Okay. So we're looking for places to go
they've got
that-
2 or 3 shows.
that night.
They've got a bar. They've got a few different stages, but Second City is an improv, but it's also pre-rehearsed and it's a bunch of sketches. 90% of the people that make a Saturday Night Live come through there.
Okay.
And you will have the time of your life.
Ask
there.
for Willie Griswold. I think he works there. A good friend of mine. Jer, you need to stop drinking. You've knocked that cup over 4 times. Jer, you get a new studio and you wreck it. This is why we can't have nice things.
What does that cup say?
It says, share the love, meet the morals.
Hashtag meet the
Chasing
morals.
Kade 8719.
No, it doesn't.
You're such a dick. I love it.
His face is so red right now. I don't know if he's embarrassed or angry.
7 carrots?
It's a mixture of both.
Okay, listen, I don't want to be selfish, but last year we went to Nashville for Dakota's bachelor party. This year we went for mine.
And next year we're going for Danny's.
And Spangle's not seeing anybody.
Yeah.
So you're
You don't know
a
that.
great hope.
You don't know that because I wouldn't tell you.
What if we just
maybe we can get
I never had a bachelor party, so we could.
So we could do yours
we
next
could
year.
make up for
a
it.
retrofit?
that gives me at least 2 more years.
Chase, could you imagine Jeremiah helping with your relationship?
I've never.
He
been
tries
asked
to
help
give me
him.
advice all the time.
He's like, you see.
What we just talked. What did we talk about before? Advice you never knew that you wanted.
And
Spangle's not seeing anybody
Has it
that you know
time
of.
out, time out. Has it always been terrible advice? Has every advice of you
No.
been terrible?
No, you're like you got like a 90% rating,
Right.
90% good.
It's not bad advice.
No.
It's just a lot of it.
That's a lot. That's exactly a good way to put it.
I don't know if I want to get married because before you got married, we went fishing all the time.
Yeah.
Since
The only
then,
people
it's
I've
just
been fishing with since I got married are my wife and Chase.
So listen to this.
That's it.
Chase is complaining about not having a time to spend with Jeremiah.
Oh, okay.
We were complaining earlier about not having parties.
it's a
He's got a
sign.
ring on his finger.
Yep.
Maybe we should have a divorce.
No,
party.
I'm not. No.
No,
I
ask
don't
Spangle about how that turns.
No. I'm Team Sarah.
I'm Team Sarah.
We'd lose half the studio.
I'll do the Rob Kendall. I just want to say thank you to my lovely wife for allowing me to be here tonight.
Really, Chris?
Really, Rob? I know this goes on forever, Haley. That's forever.
Oh God.
All right. I guess Spangle. Final thoughts. This is your last chance to compliment us before we throw your major party on
Before
Saturday
we mute
night.
the mic.
I have nothing to say.
Sarah reports that Chase just lost his fishing privileges.
No, Sarah, you can't do that to me.
Wow. You gonna let your wife talk to you that way, Jeremiah?
She says, "Hey, I have
She
2
rules
boats."
the
She
roost.
doesn't even know about the other one.
Wow, that sounds.
It's like a second checking account. I have a second boat. It'll be fine. Gotta keep it at your mom and dad's house, your grandpa's house, somewhere.
Old Jim Neighbors
We
over
got
here.
a lot of space.
He's singing "Back Home Again" in Indiana.
Back home again in Indiana.
I only got that joke because we did the Indy 500 episode.
You're welcome.
Otherwise, I would have had no idea.
I'd
Just
like-
like today, in one of the tinfoil time episodes, the most recent one was about New Coke conspiracy.
Which I love tinfoil time. I am a Patreon subscriber. I've just never been thanked for it.
Are you a
not.
listener?
Well,
I listen to the tinfoil time. Never
Chris
this show.
Spangle is not a Patreon subscriber.
That's right.
We Are Libertarians podcast.
That's right. I lose money on you guys. Like you have no idea.
You know, Dakota, if you would have went to the Indy 500, you would have heard that song.
I've heard it plenty of times before.
I'd like to
Chase.
report Aaron Ewert for child abuse because he made his kids go to the IMS museum with Jeremiah. 18 hours straight of
Those children.
Derek
those children-
Donaldson Jr.
Those children, Donald Davidson. Those children asked to go back to the Speedway with me. They're going to the track and they go, "Did we get to go with Jeremiah?"
Well, they're special too. I'm just kidding. I love those boys.
Hannah's going to flatten all 4 of your tires.
Oh no, she won't. I'll tell you why off air.
Hannah, I see you're watching. Please trade me the Bears.
That's a different
defense. Oh, never mind.
That's Hannah Diane, my sister. not Aaron's Hannah.
Who disinvited? Not only did I not get an invite, disinvited me from her wedding.
She did. She called earlier before as we were setting up the studio, and I when she was on speakerphone, I politely said, I made sure that Chris was on the invite list, and she flatly said, absolutely
No,
not.
no. What are you getting me?
Yeah,
was her question.
Yeah, it was. Oh, what are you providing?
Which makes me think this marriage isn't about love; it's about things, and that's not a good way to
sad.
start the wedding, Hannah.
I'm going to be there either way because I know where it's at.
No one. This is why people don't hang out with me. This is why I lose friends. This show. This is.
No, it's not. It's going to be in Shelby County.
It's going to be at Danny's. We're going to be at Danny's either way.
We should make it happen at Danny's.
Dude,
Yeah.
Danny's house. That wedding was great. I loved the wedding. It was.
I'm going to host a wedding there on Hannah's wedding day, even if hers isn't there.
So good.
Because it's awesome.
But the weird thing about Jeremiah's wedding, everything was perfect. Like the weather, you couldn't have gotten luckier. It was the middle of summer, but it was like perfect that day. I only got mildly sopping wet. I sweat a lot. It's not your fault.
They have music that make the ladies go,
But there's
There was a surprising amount of disco played.
But did you guys notice there was a wedding stage already built and they didn't use it?
Yeah, that
It
confused
was
me.
falling apart. You didn't see it. The wood,
Well,
the
it's a
decking
meta-
was rotted.
It's a metaphor.
The night
Dakota.
before, the night before, they were shooting fireworks from it, and I was like, "Man, they're making a big mess. They're gonna have to clean up for the morning." Right. And then they didn't use it.
We didn't use that part. Yeah.
the chapel, the whatever was already set up.
Yeah,
The night
I
before.
hadn't seen that part because it was kind of dark when I got there.
Chase just shows up when he wants to.
Is everybody going to the Beer Olympics tomorrow at Danny's?
It's questionable.
Is that
That's
tomorrow?
Saturday.
Well,
Oh,
Saturday.
I'll be
My
out
bad.
of town.
Saturday.
thanks for the invite, Danny.
You don't drink beer. Why would you go to the Beer Olympics?
I don't know. Maybe I need friends. Maybe I like to be included.
Yeah, that
Next year.
Truly.
I'll be there next year.
As you guys develop your relationships with Chris Spangle, as his longest tenured friend now at this point, I will give you all the advice. He doesn't want to come to anything.
No, but I'd like to be
damn
invited.
it, if you don't invite him, there will be hell to pay.
I don't even
So,
I don't even care anymore.
I just merely say, hey, Chris, we're going to be in Georgia here in about 3 weeks. Do you want to ride along? Hell no. But if he finds out that you went somewhere without him, where was my invite?
I don't
Every
even,
time.
I sometimes worry that you or Sarah think I'm serious. I'm never serious.
Yeah,
but
we
I
didn't even invite him to our wedding.
Right. No, you didn't. And then I think I got a pity invite, and I was like, nah, I got Hitler documentaries to watch that week. But no, I really enjoy.
I don't think Chase and I would have been invited
He's a fan
if we
of,
weren't in it.
He's a fan of Rocket Man. He's a fan of Hitler. Ooh.
We
have the documents now.
It's my own personal bit. I like to do bits for just me, and that's one of them. And whenever Jeremiah, who is very active and is always doing something, I just like to say, where's my invite? So I encourage all the listeners, anytime you see Jeremiah out and about, where was my invite? That's what you should do.
We've had creeper shots come in of Jeremiah taken from buildings as he's walking across the street.
That was my cousin.
Was it?
It was.
Kelsey.
I don't get photos taken of me. I just get glares from all the old people.
Yeah.
They think you look like the grandson that never writes.
The funny thing is no matter how bad Chase talks about it, I'm always the one that's hated.
Well, you know, I'm
for different reasons though.
I'm not a fake farmer, okay, Kade?
All right. Spangle, you got anything else? You want to promote anything else?
No, I'm good.
No announcements to make?
No, I'm good.
You're good?
Yeah. Thanks.
We're going to keep all of this equipment that you lent us. Some of it may be resold later. As
Yeah,
we
I don't even
upgrade.
think we have any of the equipment he lent us anymore.
No, you sold it all. And guess who didn't
Literally,
get even
all of this is ours now.
not even a thank you, let alone a tithe.
Dakota, final thoughts? Anything?
ChrisSpangle.com. I'd also like you to go to WeAreLibertarians.com.
I guess I don't have any final thoughts other than thank you to everybody that continues to support us on Patreon. We just did a thank you video, and we had a little open house type thing last night as we were getting set up before we had to move everything today. And a few of our Patreon subscribers came out. We didn't get a tinfoil time put out this week because it was very busy with this going on. And but yeah, of course, thank you to everybody that gives us your money every month.
I want mine back.
Can you teach him how to sell, please, Jer?
That's it. Like that's the truth of it.
I'm just stunned you guys fit
listen,
like 3,000 people in here yesterday.
What I want you to know is if we pan to the right just a little bit, there's a wall that's unfinished, and with just your $10 donation this month.
That's right.
$10, only $10, we'll be able to finish that wall and make the light bill.
A video
That's
of
like
Chase.
10 cents a day.
Get a video of Chase.
And then we can get the Chris Spangle table.
That's right. Chase just sleeping in the corner. In the arms of an angel.
Someday we'll get a bed for Chase.
For just
24-hour security.
I don't have a real bed, guys.
A video of him cleaning the toilet
Chase-
in black and white.
Chase is 23 years old and he still sleeps in his race car bed from when he was 8.
Listen, I didn't get a race car bed until I was like 16. And it was a dream of mine, man. I love that thing.
But you're joking, but the last time I was over at his house, he did have a race car bed.
I'm not joking. It technically wasn't my bed, but I slept in it a lot. Loved it.
So when you get married next year, you'll lose your virginity.
Yes.
Okay.
Not next year, like 3 years from now.
No, I saw the ring. It's really nice.
That was the promise ring, not
the awkward
engagement
silence. You ready for the awkward silence?
Yeah, I'm just going to leave it at that.
Thank you to everybody that's helped make this
What about
happen.
Cade?
We did his. We started
did?
with him.
Oh, that was
Don't
like
you-
2 hours ago,
Would
wasn't
you pay
it?
attention?
No, I don't listen to the show even when I'm on it.
Next week, Danya Lester's coming out from Purdue University. She's
right.
she's from the Ag Alumni Group, and she did some government work with them. She just retired, so now she's free. It's Danya Unchained.
I
have some fun with her.
I've heard Mitch. I had one friend who worked at Purdue. First year he was there, she's like, I hate him. And I just talked to her recently. She's like, I love Mitch Daniels. He's the best.
Purdue's done a lot of great things. So it's gonna be fun. She's bringing us some swag because, as you know, we expect all of our guests to bring us something. Danya was cleaning out her office. She worked at Purdue for about 25 years. She has a Bobby Knight wearing a Purdue University full size, like 6 foot tall poster.
Oh, that's
coming.
nice.
He's wearing a Purdue sweater, so we're gonna have that.
How is that photo not everywhere?
It's gonna be on the wall in here.
What's the plan with this studio? Are we leaving the walls blank? Are we putting stuff up?
We're putting stuff up.
Let's have
there's
this
quite-
conversation.
I like the brick, though.
Yeah.
The brick's nice.
The brick's staying.
Okay.
So we've got options. Of course, we are still running an active campaign trying to get elected to create some freedom here around Henry County.
You might want to delay the episode then. Until...
So JeremiahMoral.com. Jump on there, and we are looking for yards to put signs in. We are looking for people to go door to door, and we're looking for poll workers. So jump on there, jump on a little form, check it out, help us out. With that, I think that's the end of our scriptless episode. We didn't cost anybody any jobs.
We didn't.
We've got room for improvement. We're going to have more furniture in here. Send us your furniture, too. We need some more tables and chairs and couches and things to dampen
A couch
some
would be
noise.
nice.
And if you see a billboard in town with Jeremiah's face on it, make sure you take a selfie and send it to us.
Get your selfie with my billboard.
We would love to see it.
Please don't deface it until after the election.
Even if it means taking out your phone while you're driving, do it. But
They're
we're
out
not
there.
liable for any accidents.
There are 2 of them. All right. We'll see y'all next week.
Thank you for listening to the Boss Hog of Liberty, which is part of the We Are Libertarians Network. I am Chris Spangle, and I am the founder of this network, and I invite you to listen to all of our shows, which you can find at WeAreLibertarians.com or by searching for these in your podcatcher. The flagship show is the We Are Libertarians podcast, where we apply libertarian principles to current events. The Brian Nichols Show is a conversation amongst Republicans, Democrats, Libertarians, Independents, as they talk about what is happening in the news. And we have many other podcasts like the Chris Spangle Show, Upward, The Cost, Raw Audio Politics, Miranda's World, and Tad Talk, which is quite a ride. So check all of these out. Go to WeAreLibertarians.com and you can check out all of our great podcasts. Thanks for listening. Thank you for listening to the We Are Libertarians Network. Get our other shows at WeAreLibertarians.com.